Take us away.
Thank you. All right, so I'll share my screen.
Yep.
Okay, so today we're going to discuss the policy picker and how it works and all the good stuff that you can do with it. This is what it used to look like when I got here. This is the old version of the policy picker. Was the entire legacy side. We handled all of the content. You can see there's so much there, so many links to click. It made Dan so happy because he had all of these different links that you can click to. And although the information always used to be, never always changing, but we would change out certain things. Like Michael was talking about the snowbird. We would move certain things up in categories and stuff like that. You could actually go through, look at the products and the categories, how he ranked them at the time. And that's how that used to work. And then he had this little tool that his recommendation tool. And then you would normally navigate what interests you, just get an overview of what travel insurance was and how you can formulate it into your trip wherever you're going. Now we had a chance to give it a new fresh look. So with the mirror side, they took a template and we ended up taking their header and footer, and then I used a little bit of material design for the legacy side to give the table more spacing and just make it responsive, because everything was shift to the side, to the left side all the way over. Very small. Can't really show you what it looks like because those pages are now gone, but it used to be very, very small. And now it encompasses the whole page. It gives you a little bit of information about the products, and then you're able to navigate through, and then they hit on the spots that are the main areas of the site. So you had your why the Travel Insurance Center, you had a testimonial, travel plans, you had your providers, and then they would have like a testimonial of a person that said something about travel, and then you had the affiliate program, and then you had your links at the bottom to drive you to other areas of the site. That was on Mirror. Move this out the way. So when you would go to the policy picker, the only way you can get there is just to generate a quote. And we've been generating quotes, but just wanted to go through. So a lot of it is just asking you where your place of residence is, if you're in the United States or around the world. They don't really get into, we never really drill down into, specific places like Aruba. They just gave it geographical areas. So you had United States, Canada, Mexico, the Caribbean, Australia, New Zealand, and then so forth. These were just broken up. And of course we would have Israel here because that was for Travel Insurance Israel. So we kind of broke that one out. And that was the only one that we had out that just wasn't a region or a category. So you would normally pick your place of residence if you're in the United States, your destination. Again, we didn't give you a drill down of all the destinations in the world. We just made it either domestic, international, or just both. And then we would move to allowing the end user to tell us what their interest was, so that when we generated a quote to the policy picker, it could take that in consideration when generating a quote, so they can compare against the types of insurance they're looking for. So you could go from protecting your trip, which would be trip cancellation, or you could have travel medical, and you had different categories, emergency evacuation. Depending upon what you pick, we could guide you through to the product plans that you wanted to find that will meet your trip insurance needs. Your trip cost was always just, you will put in your trip cost. One of the things that we added in was just the ability to have some tool tips to guide people through, so that they could know what we meant when we talked about the different fields that you were required to fill out so that you can generate a quote. So in this case, Dan has a message that he wanted to get out about what's your trip cost, what it consists of, its flights, anything that is included in your trip, they wanted to make sure that you were able to calculate the full amount instead of just this and that for different parts of your trip. So your departure date is pretty much stable. You knew what date you were on to go and when you wanted to return. So we ended up having a better way of looking at your drop downs with a mapping. If you look at the old way we did it, we just kind of had these little things here that popped up, JavaScript little windows. They kind of sometimes didn't work on people's machines. Sometimes they did, but you could use that. But with the more cleaner features, we were able to give you a quick quote. Again, you still have up to as many 10 travelers that you wanted to add. Just click the button, you can add more travelers, and then you can generate a quote. So once you generate a quote, you're redirected over to Legacy. But one of the things that you see on the front here, this side here, these little quick, they added these later so that you can jump to some of the different things that Dan wanted to highlight. So he's taken away, he's kind of highlighted some of the things that you would probably be interested in or the most searched. And I think he's using Trustpilot to do that. He's looking at what's the most searched, the most purchased, the most looked at products, and he's categorizing them in this list so that you can just jump to those and find information about them quickly. So if I add a couple of travelers here, it'll redirect me over to travel on the Legacy side. On this side is where I gave it a little bit of a different look. I'm just using some material design just to kind of highlight what your travel dates were, your destination, made it more visually, welcoming, immersive for you to come in, see what residency was, see how many travelers you had. And you were able to go down and navigate again, just like Dan had here, the different sections that showed all of his products. You were able to navigate and sort through the types of coverages you were looking for. As we were discussing the other day, if you want to travel medical, here's the line of companies and carriers that carry their products that you wanted to use or research or just wanted to learn more about. Some people will come back, they know the products they're looking for, so they'll go straight to MedJet annual trips. And you can just go through and you'll see that there's different plans for different categories. And Dan can pretty much set these up differently how he wants them to display.